Have you ever stopped to think about why people sooner or later drift away from your life? Why that love that once seemed eternal, that swore to stay forever, one day simply vanished without a trace? Why friendships that once seemed unbreakable suddenly faded away like smoke in the air? And what if I told you that not all of this is your fault, that in fact there is something written in the deepest fabric of the universe since the day you were born? Would you believe me? Imagine waking up every morning with that silent, almost unbearable feeling that no matter how hard you try, how many smiles you give, how much love you pour out, people always end up leaving. You give yourself completely, you love without holding back. With the burning passion that only a Leo knows, you light up other people's lives, offering them your warmth, your loyalty, your fire. And yet, one after another, everyone ends up walking away, as if an invisible force were pushing them far from you. Today, I'm going to tell you a secret that very few dare to reveal, an ancient knowledge hidden for centuries in the folds of time, reserved only for those who dare to look beyond the obvious. And yes, Leo, I'm talking about you, child of the sun, bearer of the brightest light of power, charisma, and vitality. What I discovered after analyzing hundreds of Leo birth charts is something that will forever change the way you understand your relationships and yourself. Get ready, because what's coming is not easy to accept. This truth may hurt, it may completely disarm you, but it also has the power to set you free. Imagine carrying on your shoulders an invisible weight, a cosmic mandate that, without knowing it, shapes the way every connection in your life ends up unfolding. It's not your pride, it's not your strong character, it's not even your need for recognition, as many believe. It is something much deeper, something engraved in the primordial energy that makes up your very essence. I'm going to tell you the story of Diego, a 36-year-old Leo man who came to me completely broken after living through an 8-year relationship that ended abruptly without any explanation. "I gave everything I had," he whispered with a trembling voice. And it was true. Like every true Leo, Diego loved with the relentless strength of the sun, giving himself without fear or limits. But what he didn't know was that this very intensity, the same force that made him shine with his own light, also hid the deeper reason why everyone eventually ended up walking away from his life. And it was true. Like every true Leo, Diego loved with the relentless strength of the sun, giving himself without fear or limits. But what he didn't know was that this very intensity, the same force that made him shine with his own light, also hid the deeper reason why everyone eventually ended up walking away from his life. After I revealed to Diego what I'm about to reveal to you today, he was able to understand the pattern that kept repeating itself over and over in his life. And most importantly, he learned how to break it. Today, 2 years later, he is living a fulfilling and stable relationship, something he once thought was impossible. That's why I need to warn you. What you are about to hear may shake everything you thought you knew about yourself. It may change the way you look at the sky, the way you look at yourself, and the way you love. You will never again blame yourself when someone decides to walk away, and you will finally understand why this happens and how to keep it from happening again. To discover why people pull away from Leo, we have to go back to the origin, to the pure essence of what it means to be born under this sign, because you were not born under just any influence. You were born under the rule of the most powerful celestial body in the sky, the sun. Stop and think about that for a moment. While other signs receive their influence from planets, you are under the dominion of the one and only star that sustains life, the sun. And that, Leo, is no coincidence. It is the foundation of your essence, and also the root of your dilemma in relationships. Because the sun is light, warmth, life-giving energy, but also, when someone gets too close, it can burn. Can you see the reflection of this in your own life? Since childhood, you probably felt the gaze of others falling upon you without you even seeking it. Attention naturally gravitated toward your presence, as if you were an invisible magnet. You never had to do much to stand out. All you had to do was be there, and everything around you lit up. Do you remember those moments at school, during family gatherings, even in your first job, when you seemed to draw all the conversations toward you? When your opinion, even the simplest one, carried special weight? That was no coincidence, no product of your imagination. That was your leonine magnetism in action. In the ancient Egyptian temples, the priests believed that those born under Leo were direct bearers of the essence of Ra, the sun god. They didn't see you merely as a person. They saw a fragment of the divine embodied on earth. That is why they chose you for roles of guidance, leadership, to carry the torch that would inspire others. In Rome, Leos were associated with power, command, and the natural right to shine. The empire recognized what the cosmos had already decreed, that a Leo is not born to go unnoticed. They are born to radiate. But here lies the first layer of the great secret, because the same power that attracts is the very same that repels. It is a universal law of balance. The stronger your light, the greater the demand you place on those who receive it. The more intensely you shine, the more you wear down those who try to keep up with your rhythm. Think about your past relationships. Do you remember how, at the beginning, everything was fire, excitement, life? Your partners, your friends, even your colleagues felt energized simply by your presence. It was as if you were the sun that nourished them. You gave them confidence, joy, warmth. But over time, something would change. Little by little, those same people who once seemed unable to stay away from you began to need space. At first, the signs were subtle: shorter messages, cancelled plans, awkward silences. Then came the distance, until finally, they left. And no, it wasn't because you did something wrong. It wasn't because you gave too much or too little. It was because most people simply don't have the energetic capacity to sustain the intensity of a Leo for too long. It's like staring directly at the sun. At first it's dazzling, majestic, irresistible, but if you stare for too long, it hurts, it burns, it blinds. It's not your fault, Leo. You are simply being what you were born to be. An ancient Sanskrit astrological text, the Brihat Parashara Horashastra, written more than 2,000 years ago, had already warned about this phenomenon. Loosely translated, it says, "Those born when the sun resides in its own dwelling carry so much light in their essence that without knowing it, they consume the life force of those who remain too close for too long." And this, Leo, is the truth no one ever told you. You don't destroy relationships. It's your light that, being so intense, becomes unbearable for those who don't know how to hold it. But that, Leo, is only the surface of the secret. There is something even deeper that explains why people end up walking away, something that most astrologers never mention because very few dare to study it, a phenomenon known as the solar echo. Leos don't just radiate energy like the sun, they also act as cosmic mirrors. What does this mean? It means that when someone spends enough time with you, they begin to see themselves reflected in your light. And I'm not talking about their best version. I'm talking about what they keep hidden, their insecurities, their deepest fears, their unrealized desires. Have you noticed how, after a while, some people start to seem uncomfortable around you? How they avoid looking you directly in the eye or respond defensively for no apparent reason? It's not because you've done something wrong. It's because your presence forces them to confront the parts of themselves they would rather keep in the shadows. Let me tell you the story of Mariana, a 39-year-old Leo who led a creative team in a well-known international company. At first, her team admired her deeply. They felt energized, motivated, capable of overcoming any challenge under her leadership. But after about 7 months, something began to change. Little by little, several team members requested transfers to other departments. When human resources investigated, the answers were vague. Differences in work style, lack of team chemistry. The truth, Mariana's solar presence was activating something deep within each of them. Without meaning to, she was forcing them to see their own lack of initiative, their fear of failure, their tendency to settle for less. And since most people prefer comfort over growth, they chose the easiest way out, to walk away. This effect is not limited to the psychological. There is a powerful energetic component involved, and it is connected to your heart chakra. Mystics call it the solar heart. While most people emit energy from the heart chakra in a radius of about 1 meter, a Leo can expand their field up to 7 meters. Do you understand what that means? That even without realizing it, you are constantly projecting waves of emotional energy that affect everyone around you. It's like broadcasting at high frequency, without pause, without filters. For those who are not prepared to handle that intensity, prolonged exposure becomes overwhelming. Do you remember Angela, the Leo woman I mentioned earlier? She discovered after deep energy work that her partner, whom she truly loved, had begun to develop physical symptoms after 3 years together. Headaches, insomnia, anxiety, all classic signs of energetic overload. He loved her, yes, but his system could no longer process the intensity of the field she emanated. And here's something you must engrave in your heart. None of this is your fault. You are not doing it consciously. There is no malice, no hidden intent. This is part of your nature, of the mission the universe assigned you when you were born under the light of the sun. It is simply your cosmic nature manifesting, Leo. Blaming yourself for this would be like blaming the sun for burning or the ocean for being deep. You are not doing anything wrong. You are simply expressing the energy you were born with. But here comes the big question. Are you doomed to lose every important person in your life? Are you destined to live eternally in that cycle of intense connection followed by abandonment? The answer is no. And that is exactly what I'm going to reveal to you now. Think about your past relationships. Do you see the pattern? It all begins with a dazzling fire. The connection is intense, passionate, almost perfect. The person seems enchanted by you. Then comes the stability phase, when everything seems to flow in harmony, but almost like a cosmic clock, something begins to change. The distance appears. First subtle, then obvious. Messages that take longer to arrive. Conversations that grow less deep. A space that expands day by day. Until, finally, the disconnection becomes inevitable. And the most frustrating part is that even when you try to control yourself, when you decide to dim your fire a little so as not to scare the other person, the result still ends up being the same. Because this is not something you do consciously. It's an energetic dynamic that takes place on levels far beyond the mind. But listen closely, Leo. What if I told you it's possible to reprogram that dynamic? That you can keep your light without draining the people you love. That there is a way to neutralize that solar echo that makes others confront their own shadows when they are with you. The truth is, you do not have to reduce your brightness so others feel comfortable around you. You don't need to pretend to be less than you are. The only thing you need is to learn how to modulate your energy so that it nourishes instead of consuming. And that is what we're going to explore now, when I finally reveal to you the secret that can transform all your relationships from this moment forward. That secret lies in something the ancient Chaldean astrologers called solar inversion, an energetic phenomenon exclusive to Leos that, when understood and practiced, completely changes the dynamic of your connections. Do you know where the real problem has always been? Not in your intensity. The real problem is the direction of the energy flow. Until now, you have been operating like the sun, emitting light and heat in all directions, never stopping, never filtering, and that constant radiation is what drains those who stay too close for too long. Solar inversion is about reprogramming that pattern. Instead of endlessly radiating outward, you will learn to create a circular flow, to give and receive in balance. In this way, your energy will not only stop wearing others down, but it will also become a force that nourishes, strengthens, and prolongs the connections in your life. This knowledge was so powerful that in ancient times it was reserved for kings and priests. It was considered the secret behind long-lasting reigns like that of Ramses II, a Leo pharaoh who ruled for 66 years and maintained strong alliances even with former enemies. And today, that knowledge is reaching you, because the practice of solar inversion is built on three fundamental pillars. The three pillars of solar inversion are conscious breathing, chromatic visualization, and earth anchoring. When these elements are combined correctly, they completely reprogram your energetic field. First pillar, conscious breathing. Leos, by nature, tend to breathe faster and more shallowly than other signs. It's a reflection of your solar essence, always in motion, always burning. The problem is that this breathing pattern fuels a constant state of energetic hyperactivity, which contributes to the exhaustion of those around you. That's why you need to incorporate a daily practice of deep, rhythmic breathing. Just 5 minutes upon waking and 5 minutes before going to sleep are enough to begin. The pattern is simple but powerful. Inhale while mentally counting to 4, hold your breath for 2, and exhale while counting to 6. This rhythm, 4-2-6, is not arbitrary. It was described in ancient Egyptian papyri as the breathing of those born under the sun. What does it do? Of course, it calms your nervous system, but its real power lies on the subtle plane. It creates micro-fluctuations in your energetic field, introducing moments of pause between your continuous emissions. It's like opening small windows that allow energy to circulate in both directions, giving others the space to recover. Andres, a 38-year-old Leo who decided to try only this technique, shared a revealing experience with me. After just 3 weeks, my relationship, which seemed on the verge of breaking, began to improve noticeably. It was as if the air between us became lighter, fresher. Conversations flowed naturally, and silences stopped feeling tense. Second pillar, chromatic visualization. As a Leo, your field naturally vibrates in the golden-orange spectrum, colors of the sun, of fire, of expansion. These are tones of pure emission, and to create balance, you need to incorporate blue-violet into your aura. Each morning, after your conscious breathing, spend 2 minutes visualizing a blue-violet light surrounding your body, focusing on your chest, the seat of your solar heart chakra. Imagine this light forming a semi-permeable shield, like a subtle filter. No, it doesn't dim your light. It simply modulates the intensity, just as a regulator prevents a current that's too strong from burning what it powers. Your energy still flows, but now it does so in a way others can receive without feeling overwhelmed. Sophia, a 30-year-old Leo and creative project manager, shared her experience. After every meeting with me, my team used to feel drained. But since I started practicing this visualization daily, they leave inspired and full of new ideas. My energy is still as strong as ever, but now they can keep up without feeling overwhelmed. Third pillar, earthly anchoring. This is the most powerful component, the one that seals the entire process and turns the solar investment into a permanent energetic habit. Because while you consciously breathe and filter your light, you need something else, grounding. Why? Because the sun that burns without connection to the earth becomes a fire that consumes. When you are not anchored, your energy seeks stability in others, and that is what drains them. Earth anchoring creates a circuit. You receive from the earth, and instead of draining those you love, you nourish from your center. The practice is simple but sacred. Walk barefoot on soil or grass for at least 10 minutes a day. If you cannot do it outdoors, use visualization. Sit with your back straight, close your eyes, and visualize golden roots descending from the soles of your feet down to the crystalline heart of the planet. Feel the dense, warm energy of the earth rising up through your legs, nourishing your center. Breathe deeply as you repeat silently, "My fire is energy that nourishes, not consumes." When you unite these three pillars, conscious breathing, chromatic visualization, and earth anchoring, you not only break the cycle of loss and abandonment, but you turn your presence into a magnetic field of stability and prosperity. This is the secret power of the solar investment, Leo. Knowledge that was once reserved for kings and priests is now in your hands, because you were born to shine, but also to sustain. As a Leo, your essence is anchored in the sky, in the ethereal, in the fire that burns and never goes out. From there comes your vision, your infinite creativity, your natural ability to lead. But that strong upward connection often brings with it a disconnection from the earthly, from the concrete, from the material. That is why earth anchoring is not just a practice, it is a bridge between your fire and the stability you need to sustain it. Do it once a day, preferably barefoot, with your feet touching the earth. Imagine golden roots sprouting from the soles of your feet, piercing the ground, passing through layers of stone and magma until they reach the crystalline heart of the planet. Visualize these roots absorbing the stable, dense and nourishing energy from the Earth's core, gently drawing it into your body. Feel this force rising through your legs, filling your abdomen, your chest, your arms, your head. Each breath connects you more. Each exhale releases any accumulated tension. The result: you stop draining your energy and the energy of those around you and begin to nourish yourself from the most abundant and reliable source, the Earth itself. Matthias, a 44-year-old Leo, had lost 3 important relationships by following the same pattern. When he began to practice this technique daily, everything started to change. 6 months later, he confessed to me with emotion and tears in his eyes. For the first time, I feel like I'm building something real and lasting. And the best part, I didn't have to dim my light to achieve it. Because when you integrate these 3 pillars, conscious breathing, chromatic visualization, and earthly anchoring, something profound happens. Your energetic field is completely reprogrammed. In approximately 40 days, a full solar cycle, your vibrational signature undergoes a radical transformation. You remain that solar, magnetic, and charismatic being you've always been. Your light doesn't diminish in the slightest, but now that light nourishes instead of consuming, inspires instead of intimidating, strengthens instead of draining. And here's the most fascinating part. When this reprogramming is set in place, you don't just stop pushing people away. You begin to attract connections of an entirely different level. Souls that once might have felt overwhelmed by your intensity now feel irresistibly drawn to you. People who would have run away after a few months now want to stay and build by your side. It's as if, by harmonizing your energetic field through solar inversion, you begin to vibrate at the exact frequency that calls in those who are aligned with your highest purpose. And what if everything you experienced before, those departures, those endings, was not a punishment, but an act of cosmic wisdom? What if the universe was clearing the path so that today, here and now, you could become the leader, the inspiration, the beacon of light you were always meant to be? Leo, you were born to shine, to lead, to transform lives with your sacred fire. But to fulfill that purpose without sacrificing your relationships, there's one truth you must embrace. Mastery over your energy is your true kingdom. Remember these words: my light rises when I learn to control my energy. Now it's your turn. Practice the 3 pillars. Make solar inversion your daily ritual, and get ready to attract relationships and opportunities that once seemed impossible. Because the question was never whether you were born to shine. The universe decided that the day it placed the sun in your chart. The real question is, are you ready to sustain that light without destroying what you love? If you've made it this far, I want you to tell me in the comments, ready to transform my energy. And that is exactly what the practice of solar inversion allows, Leo. Now that you know the secret, it's time to understand how this energetic transformation will impact every aspect of your life. Because believe me, the changes go far beyond just preventing people from walking away. We're talking about a revolution in the way you experience love, friendship, professional relationships, and even the most important relationship of all, the one you have with yourself. Love under a new light. Let's start with your romantic relationships. As a true Leo, you love with an intensity few can understand, much less match. Your heart is loyal, generous, passionate. The problem was never a lack of love, but an excess of it, expressed so intensely that it ended up overwhelming your partner. With the practice of solar inversion, you don't just learn to modulate that intensity, you also create space to receive love in equal measure to what you give. This creates a completely new dynamic, a balanced dance of giving and receiving, instead of the old pattern where you chased and the other fled. Isabel, a 34-year-old Leo, shared her experience. Before, I felt I had to constantly prove how much I loved, always giving more and pushing myself without rest. It drained me deeply and seemed too much for my partner as well. Now there's peace between us, genuine trust. For the first time, I feel I can relax and simply be loved without having to fight for that love day after day. Friendships that nourish. The change in your friendships is equally profound. You have always been the center of the circle, the organizer, the motivator, the one who holds everything together. But how many times did you feel you gave more than you received? That the burden of maintaining connections fell solely on you? After the energetic reprogramming that solar inversion produces, your vibrational field shifts and you attract a different kind of people. Friends who not only receive your light, but also bring their own. People who don't feel threatened by your greatness, but inspired by it, who don't run from your intensity because the energetic dynamic between you flows with natural balance. Felipe, a 40-year-old Leo, told me sincerely, after 60 days applying these practices, my relationships changed deeply. Some people naturally drifted away. At first, I thought it was negative. But then others came, people with whom everything flows naturally and effortlessly. Today, for the first time, I feel like I have a circle that nourishes me as much as I nourish them. Your inner kingdom, and most importantly, your relationship with yourself transforms. Because by practicing the 3 pillars, you no longer depend on external energy to feel whole. You no longer seek constant validation, nor do you exhaust yourself trying to maintain bonds that weren't ready for your light. With solar inversion, you reclaim your power. You don't have to choose between loving intensely and keeping those you love. You can have it all, because now you master the flow of your energy. Leo, you were born to lead, to inspire, to ignite hearts with your sacred fire. And this is the path to do so without losing what you value most. Because when a Leo learns to sustain their brilliance without consuming others, they stop being just a star and become a true sun around which everything blooms. In the professional realm, the fire that inspires, not burns. In your career, the benefits can be even more evident. Leo, your nature is leadership, creativity, inspiration. You're the spark that ignites projects, the vision others don't dare to imagine. But let's be honest, your intensity has also been your greatest challenge. How many times has your light awakened hidden resistance, veiled envy, unexpected comments, projects that seemed to advance until someone blocked the way simply because your brilliance was unbearable to their ego? Some old friends drifted away, no drama, no resentment. It was as if the universe was cleansing your circle to make room for those who are truly in tune with you. And then you begin to attract people who see you fully, who appreciate your intensity without feeling consumed by it. For the first time, you experience what it means to have truly reciprocal friendships, connections that nourish instead of drain. Solar inversion changes all of that completely, because when you harmonize your energy, you keep shining just as bright, but your presence stops being a threat. It begins to be a catalyst. You no longer intimidate, you inspire. You no longer generate friction, you propel collective growth. Elena, a 43-year-old Leo and director at a multinational company, shared with me, "I was always recognized for my achievements, but I also faced hidden tensions within my teams. Since I incorporated solar inversion, especially the earth anchoring practice, everything changed. My team not only stays united, but is surpassing all goals. And the most incredible part, I feel like I lead with less effort, more naturally and fluidly. The deepest shift, your relationship with yourself. But the most powerful transformation happens inside you. Because how many times, Leo, did you blame yourself when someone walked away? Every departure felt like a blow to your solar heart. You questioned yourself. Am I too much? Am I asking for too much? Could my brightness be a problem? That cycle ends here. Because when you integrate solar inversion, fierce self-criticism begins to fade. You start to understand something essential. There was never anything wrong with you. You never had to choose between being authentic and being loved. It was always possible to be yourself in all your leonine greatness, and at the same time, sustain deep, lasting bonds. Matteo, a 32-year-old Leo, shared with tears in his eyes. For the first time in my life, I feel completely comfortable in my own skin. I no longer try to lower my voice, contain my enthusiasm, or hide my ambition. And paradoxically, now that I've stopped diminishing myself, people feel more at ease with me than ever before. An unexpected effect, your physical health. There is something else that very few know. This energetic reprogramming directly impacts your physical health. Leos have a predisposition to heart problems and spinal issues, two vital centers that reflect your solar energy. Coincidence? Not at all. When you operate in constant emission without replenishment, your body is forced to maintain a state of permanent alert. Palpitations, hypertension, tension in the upper back. Does that sound familiar? When you balance your field with solar inversion, the body can finally lower its guard. The heart relaxes, blood pressure normalizes, the spine releases tension. It's as if your body says, "Thank you for not demanding I hold all the fire alone." A final revelation, your relationship with time. Here's something almost no astrologer dares to say. Solar inversion doesn't just transform your relationships and your body. It transforms your relationship with time itself. Why? Because when your energy stops dispersing uncontrollably, you enter a state of expanded presence. Your mind stops bouncing between anxiety and exhaustion. And in that luminous stillness, everything that once seemed to take forever begins to flow faster. Opportunities, resources, connections. You no longer chase time. Time begins to orbit around you, like planets orbit the sun. Leo, this is not theory. It's the path back to your essence, to shine without consuming, to love without losing, to lead without wearing yourself down. The solar kingdom begins within you. Leo, listen closely to these words because they are the heart of everything we've talked about. There was never anything broken in you. You were never too much. Your intensity is not a flaw. It is your sacred gift. You came into this life to lead, to inspire, to ignite the fire in others. But you cannot do it at the cost of losing your peace, your love, your balance. And now you know. You don't need to dim your light to keep those you love. You just need to learn how to direct it. When you practice solar inversion, you don't just transform your relationships, you transform yourself. You stop spinning around chaos and begin to become the harmonious center of your own universe. Because when you master your energy, you don't lose your light, you multiply it. Listen to this and engrave it in your solar heart. Your brilliance is not a threat. Your brilliance is medicine. Your light did not come to burn. It came to awaken. The world needs your fire, Leo, but it needs a fire that inspires, not destroys. That is your true purpose. That is the gift only you can give. Now the question is, are you ready to take on your power and become the sun that nourishes instead of consumes? If your answer is yes, write it in the comments. Today I begin my solar inversion. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, because in upcoming videos I will reveal practical rituals, energetic exercises, and ancient secrets that will take your life to the next level. Share this video with another Leo who needs to hear this, because light expands when shared. Always remember, when you master your energy, your destiny stops being to push away and begins to attract what is truly meant for you.